evening, everybody, and welcome to what is round 10 of the best TCR league on a Friday night on iRacing from SRL TV. It is the TCR League Season 8, Round 10, the finale. Everything that these drivers are working their way up to tonight is all about sitting on top of that hill, proving who's the best, and taking it on to the next level and obtaining the bragging rights for Season 9, which is coming soon on the channel here. But first up, let's get some housekeeping underway. Summit Point is one of those cracking little tracks, tight, compact, twisty, hard to overtake on, so it's all about making it as much of a pressure cooker as you can imagine. And those 10 turns at Summit Point do make it very challenging for everybody as well. So if you're a pro stuck behind a Pro-Am or an Am, you have got to make it work for you and you only. However, as always, this is the final round of the championship. So let's have a look at some points that are happening beforehand on the championship scale. We'll start with the teams for a change. It's always nice to start something we don't see too often. This is how the teams look going into the season ender. I just realised I've actually got the wrong name at the top there. It should be week 10, shouldn't it? Let's modify you ever so slightly. There we go. Never happened. SRL Green of John Brown and Dan Lewis occupy the top spot by a considerable margin there over the just an average simulator Vroom team, and the tryhards there in third place. Blade Designs are gathering some momentum, open to fourth after a slow start to the season, and we'll probably see the last of the points from Altitude Esports and Sharer Esports. Next in green, Delmont is out there, so probably just on his own tonight, so he's going to be looking to get some points on the board for his team, which are down there in 7th, and the Pretenders will be keen to come into the top 5 if they can, with a good haul of points tonight, but we shall see how that works out for them. But the charging Hydro Force, Hydro Racing Forces team of 458 of Demi, Tigchila and Jan, so Yura Larkinen, will be clearly ahead of momentum. Are going to be looking to do what they can there to upset some apricots into the AMs. Here we go, week 10. Paul Hurley pretty much has it done and dusted. I don't think there's any possible way for him to be beaten. So it's now about fighting for the places below. Paul Hurley there with 418 points with Jack Davies and Nick Scotney. Scott Malcolm, Andy Littler, all running very similar on points there. We do have Nick Scotney and Andy Littler out on track, so they will be looking to settle some scores there, because they go into this final round on 106 points each. Can any of them usurp Jack Davies and go for that podium in the championship? We've got 2 races coming up to certainly see how that works. Into the Pro-Ams, this is the division that is just so tight and so hot. Cooper Akers is chasing down Tony Walker there by just 26 points behind. Dan Lewis is further adrift on 534 with Mikolai Pashek 520. JB DeJay of 484. Keve there of 481. Craig Walters 443. He's back out on track tonight looking at the entry list. And Stuart Gibbons on 410 of Deck Crowder 391. And Neil Stevenson on 371. The racing is going to be hot in that top 2 positions between Tony Walker and Cooper Akers tonight. Let's see how that works out. The pros, they're not settled either. We've got Logan McKinsey and Arthur Fertile. Yes, it looks pretty dominant, but it can easily be turned around with a couple of bad results there. I don't think, though, Arthur Fertile is taken to the track tonight, unfortunately. So it looks like Logan McKinsey should have it in the bag. John Brown could claim second place with a good set of results as well, if Arthur doesn't turn up in the next few minutes. And Dan Mould, the stop-start season that he's had so far, we're looking to climb himself into the top 3 potentially with a good set of points tonight. But he'd have to claim all the bonuses that are on offer, which includes driving cleanly. Let's see if that one can be done. Tom Woodcock's out on track just to get some points on the board for his team. His teammate Kev is not out on track today. He's currently, or was currently, sunbathing away in the rain at the ELMS at Silverstone. As the qualifying session will be getting underway very shortly. As per usual, we will join up. It's kind of really screwed my screen up now, isn't it? As usual, there we go. It's done it. It's done it. It doesn't like you changing sessions halfway through. Just reset the overlay for you all. But we will be looking to jump on board a couple of drivers as everyone roars out the pit lane for the start of qualifying. It's like a race start. Come on, boys, calm down. Nothing's gained for barging out the pit lane. There'll be a few names you'll see on the timing sheets which will not correlate to any of the names that actually the race. A few drivers were invited to practice to get a flavour of a league for next season, but they will not be on track during the race and quali sessions because it is an open qualifying, as always, for 15 minutes. We'll see how that certainly works out in their favour. Okay, let's just get all the lovely positions set up for you on screen so you can see what is going and what is not going on. There we go. There's been no times on the board yet. There we go. Everything looks like we're all on board and everything ready to go for the qualifying of Heat 1. So if you're using the SRL, the format is as follows. There is obviously an hour and 10 minutes worth of practice before the session gets underway. 15 minutes open qualifying. No limitation on points. We will have... I just missed out something there, have I? Nope. Excuse me. We'll have two races. One is 20 minutes long and the second race is 25 minutes long. All on a fixed setup. Now, Certain Point has the notoriety, I'll say, that it has no corner names that I've been able to discover in preparation for this. So, unfortunately, if I just need to go into turns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, that's all you get here at Certain Point. We are treated to a wonderful drone cam, which comes down into the sections of 4, 5, 6, and 7. As we watch Tom Woodcock and John Brown just working their way around in this looking like a very Honda Civic paced field. My maths are correct, we'll have 15 cars on track, maybe 16 cars on track for the event. Once everyone's worked out what they're doing and how they're doing it. There's our drone cam. At the moment, it's thinking Tom Woodcock is our most exciting driver. And then John Brown, who's always Mr. Exciting. So good times around here. You're looking into sub 116s. If you can get into the 15s, you're looking good. But it's about getting to the very bottom end of those 15s as the big times to put in on pole. As Tom Woodcock sets the pace of a 15.6 for JB DJ, 15.61, and John Brown 15.63. This will be a lap of thousands, a lap of hundredths to decide who stays on pole, who does not stay on pole, and just to see where we qualify. It's top 10 reverse grid for the second race as well. So qualifying, yes, it's important for race 1. Not as important as you'd expect for race 2, because you've got to finish strongly in the first race. Now then, here comes the part that you all come to tune in for, is the flying laps. We've got 3 AMs out on track today. I'll separate that on the grid for you now, so you can see who the AMs are. We haven't had Nick Scottney out on track a set of time yet, or Andy Littler. As it stands, that's how they look at the moment in terms of splits. Put more back into the big melting pot. So let's jump on board with Paul Hurley as he's about to start his flying lap in about 2 seconds. I find the cockpit cam. Every time he does this because I don't have that set up correctly. Hey. There you go. Paul Hurley is starting his flying lap, but he's actually not starting his flying lap by the look of that. Thank you, Paul. So he's actually bailed out. Okay, so that's alright, that's not a problem. Just want to get some better track position too. Let's have a look at another one of our protagonists, Cooper Akers. He's going to be one of the pro-ams to watch in his battle with Tony Walker. So we'll jump on board with Cooper Akers in a short moment. That's our start-finish line camera, which we'll have for any of the close finishes as the race progresses. Do watch Cooper meander around behind Tom Woodcock. I think Cooper might have selected the wrong livery there because he's actually using Tom Woodcock's old livery. Alright, here we go. Cooper Akers, let's jump on board. Starting his flying lap. He comes down into turn 1. Taking that curb on the inside. You want to keep it tight, get on the throttle nice and early, and roll it out. But not too far wide because you want to keep it far right as possible into this fast left-hand kink, which is turn 3. Be brave on turning, clobber the curb, run it wide as you dare, and unfortunately he ran too wide there, and that's the end of his lap. It's a tricky one to run. You really got to push on the limit here at some point to get the benefit of it. But we'll stay on board with Cooper. He's obviously seen his way through the section of 4, 5, and 6 and 7, which is always a tough challenge to get around. Just have our inputs on there. And okay, yeah, start a new lap. So we'll stay on board and see if this one's a better lap. At the moment, Cooper is occupying 5th place of a 15.14. Delmont, McKinsey and Brown are currently in the 14s along with Dan Mould. So Cooper is the top pro at the moment. So certainly putting himself in the shop window for that positioning. It's a good turn 1 there for Cooper. On the power nice and early. Driving on forward. And then bails out of this one. Yep. No one's wanting to jump on board and set us some times here. And Logan McKinsey is the man on the top, but we're not going to do a Logan McKinsey. We're going to do a John Brown one next time. As everyone's by. Might try and jump back on later on there with Cooper. John Brown, he's letting some guys go because he's on a slowing down lap. We're keeping himself cool. And he starts his lap in a second. Going to get a nice draft of one of just an average sim racer boys, no doubt, as long as they don't mess it up in front of him. Nice exit there. Turn 10 is one of those corners again. You've got to be brave on. You've really got to lean on the car hard to get it around, and trust your exit to understeer out. So down into turn 1, you can be very late on the brakes here. Send it in very deep on the apex, just like John Brown's done there. Brilliant job. On the power, nice early. Keeping it tight, shortening the distance between corners through 2 and into 3 again. 3. Use the width for the track on the right. Don't get squirrely. Use it. Clip the curb on the left. Run beautifully straddling the curb on the exit there. And down into 4 and 5. It's a fast kink 4 into 5 heavy braking zone. Unfortunately, Cooper in front is probably not quite helping John Brown's lap there. We got out of it. Into 6 and 7. Tight, slow corners. In gear 1 and gear 2. Keeping the revs up. Nicely negotiated there through 8. And 9 is just fast kink again. Hit the curb on the inside. Don't run it too far wide because you can get off track and get dragged off track. But he's done that absolutely perfectly there for John Brown as they race down to the final corner, turn 10. Again, clip the curb on the inside. Run it as wide as you dare. You can touch the bit of the gravel, but it will slow down. That's a fabulous exit. Use all the track he needed to. And John Brown over the line for a 15.24. So not quite the 14s, but certainly a competitive time there. Tony Walker. Let's jump on board with Tony. our season leader at the moment in the championship, in the Pro-Am Championship. This man has shown some talent this season. I mean, Mr. Consistent. And he's certainly turned on the afterburners in the last few rounds. So here comes Tony up to turn 3. How does he take turn 3? Same with John Brown. Tony's best time was a 15.48, which was his last lap. So he's gathering momentum. The tyres are coming up nicely into temperature. We've got 10 minutes gone, 5 minutes remaining. Nice little lift there. Oh, down the gears, down to second, down to first. And on the throttle, nice and early. And down to first again, does he? Not quite. Keeps it in second. John went down to first, blipped it down. It's a little bit different there. Didn't quite bog it down either, so through 8 and 9 now. Keeping the speed up. You can see the revs there. 160 kilometers an hour for that corner. Car going right. Use the draft. Use as much as he dares. And went a little bit too wide there. Easy to do if you're not paying full attention. And a little bit missed the apex on turns. Now cost him a few valuable tenths and hundredths of a second on that final corner alone as he completes that lap for 15.73. And you can tell where he lost it was on that final corner. Who we got into the pro? Nick Scotney is about to start a lap. Will we see Nick Scotney? Another Honda. So there's a lot of Hondas in this race, so I probably should have chosen someone different. But yeah, Lantras of Larkinen and Tikachila are not doing amazingly great at the lower end of the Pro-Am field there in 11th and 12th. They're on 15.55 and 15.57. Absolutely stunningly consistent between them, but a little bit off the pace. But when you consider Walker's 4.48 and then you got JB Deshay 0.51, Craig Walters 0.52, Ben Larkinen and Tikachila is 0.55 and 5.7 with Woodcock down in 13 for 0.6. He is tight. And this is what we're saying. It's going to come down to thousandths of a second. Cooper Akers has a 2/10 lead over Deck Crowther, who has parked up for his qualifying session over to an end. And let's jump back on board with Cooper Akers. Can the Pro-Am do something special this lap here and not bail out of a lap? We'll give him one more chance. As we have 3 minutes of qualifying remaining before we get into the action for race 1. Nicely negotiated there through turn 3. Turn 4 is a bit of a nothing straight, really. You just want to get straight through there. Nicely done. Down through the gears, nicely there. Just keeps it in gear 2. Just drop it down. No, keeps the revs up, gear 2. Keeps it above 80k. On the throttle, nice and early there. Nice run across the curb. You've got a Civic, never known for its curb mounting skills. Certainly negotiates that well like a Nepalese Sherpa. Down towards the final corner as we breeze past Logan McKenzie, his fellow American on track. Bounce across the curb on the inside. Don't be careful, unsettles you too much. You've got to use all the exit really well there. This looks like a good lap from Cooper. Can he improve on a 15.14 over the line? No, 15.5. I suspect the conditions are getting a bit on the hot side now, and just making the tyres a bit too warm to go for the best laps overall. Okay, so let's jump back into the cameras, see what's going on. Not many people out on track at the moment. I think the best of the track has gone. Let's run through our top 10 as it stands with Adam Delmont on 14.75, with Logan McKenzie at 14.86, John Brown 14.95, with Dan Mould just beating him to 14.91 of that last lap over the line. Cooper Akers top pro at 15.14, Dave Crowther 15.38, Daniel Lewis 15.42, Tony Walker 15.48, JB Deshay 15.51. Demi Titular on 15.52, with Craig Walters on 15.52. Ura Larkinen on 15.55, with Tom Woodcock on 15.6, and Paul Hurley, first of our AMs, at 15.71. Clayton Butt our slowest Pro-Am on track at the moment, at 15.87, with Nick Scotney on 16.56. Whoa, that's how we look. 16 drivers, just show us 17. Now Kevin Anfield at the end, but ignore that time. He shouldn't have set the time, as he was an invite to practice only. It's going to upset my scoring system, no doubt. So we can see the weather there. It's 22 degrees. Air temperature 28 degrees, track temperature 66% humidity, with a little bit of a nice wind at 155 degrees, which is around south-easterly. What do we ever show you? Here's the race info, just to show you what the layout of the track looks like. And your home of Friday night TCR racing. That is how it looks for the session about to get underway in a few moments. There we go, we're done for that. So let's just empty that out of the way. We're going to pop that into a little bit of slow-mo, just so it gives me a little bit of time to get the grid for race 1 away. There we go, look at that. Efficiency. That's how we roll, people. That's how we roll. Okay. This is what we're here for. The grid. Excuse me. So on your pole, we've just said Adam Delmont with Logan McKenzie on 2nd place there. Dan Mould on 3rd, of John Brown 4th. Cooper Akers takes the pro-am pole with Deck Crowther on 5th and 6th, with Daniel Lewis and Tony Walker on 7th and 8th. 9th place is JB DeJay and 10th is Demi Titular on 10th place Demi Titular, 11th place is Craig Walters, and 12th place Ewa Larkinen. 13th place Tom Woodcock, who'll be interesting to see how the pro level driver works his way through the field. With 14th place Clayton McBuller, and 15th is Paul Hurley, and 16th Nick Scotney. That is your top 16. That is your grid as it looks for the race. We're excited for this one. There's going to be some interesting battles to take us through this race, but the big one to watch out for is going to be the Akers versus Walker battle. Because that is the one where people will be watching, and that is the one that can be settled tonight. It's the closest challenge on track for the positions. Get our battle box open for you all. There we go. Battle for first position. There we go. I think that's everything. Are we missing anything? No, I don't think we are. Not everyone's gridded up yet. So we've still got McKinsey, Mould, and Walker to grid up. So once they grid up, we get the flags. Just waiting for McKinsey. So you're going to be a late addition to grid. Walker hasn't gridded up yet. He'll start behind Deck. Says Deck. And no McKinsey yet. Still 30 seconds still. Mr. Barney drops it. The green flag. It's going to be very interesting. Andy Littler has gridded up. He didn't make qualify, but he has gridded up. So we've got 3 AMs on track. It's a good number to see. Is McKinsey going to make the race? Has something happened to McKinsey? Are we going to see some controversy? Are we going to see the championship leader have an issue? We're at our first on track. We are probably, there we go. Right, revs are going to rise. We're going to get green any second. Here we go. The order revs rising over 16 car grid. Go, and McKinsey has started the race. Controversial start. Off I go with the green flag. Go, go, go. Down to turn 1, and Logan McKinsey, with the flying jump start, has retired from the lead of the race there. In a track like this, it's probably best just to get out of the way and take the penalty out. There we go. Delmont leads Mould into Brown, into Cooper. Dan Lewis surging forward with an Audi start of his to make up 2 places onto turn 1. Nice clean start from everybody as they roll through turns 1 and 2 into turn 3. The fast left and the first challenge. Can they keep it on track and not run too wide, because it's so easy to do and take the off track, but everyone's through there nice and cleanly. Fabulous bit of driving there. Larkin just dropping to Craig Walters. We're on board with Daniel Lewis. Back to Craig Walters there, side by side with Ewa Larkinen. Tom Woodcock looking to pick up some pieces of any entrance happen there in his Civic. Straight back to JB DeJay as he has got Titular on the front of his car. Dan Lewis going to try and push Cooper Akers through this lap. Dick Crowther looking to hover around. We got a car going right. It's Paul Hurley of the Pretenders looking to go inside Tom Woodcock. This could be a Am versus Pro-Am move, and doing it legitimately on track. A little bit of a rub there from Larkin versus Walters. And the first lap is completed. Incident free, trouble free, apart from the very flagrant jump start from Logan McKinsey. And we see Clayton McBullough pushing Paul Hurley all the way down that straight. But Paul Hurley stamping his authority on team principles there. We're going past Tom Woodcock on the opening lap. So Tom Woodcock hasn't dropped any places, but Paul Hurley making 3 places up. The biggest mover on the first lap there. We're going on board Tom Woodcock. I noticed the camera didn't want to play ball there. Let's just move you back so it will play ball. And no incidents on the first lap, so that was a fabulous start from everybody. We'll jump on board there with Woodcock on the old camera, see what's going on behind. Woodcock will be looking to make a move on Hurley. Can there be some bragging rights coming back here as the cars go down into turn 10? That's Larkin going wide. Yep, there'll be obviously 2 wide here between the JS team. Into turn 1. There's Clayton McBullough who squeezes his way past as well somehow. And Tom Woodcock has got past Paul Hurley there. Good racing from the boys there. Somehow Clayton managed to slip his way past those two very nicely back towards the front of Dick Crowther on the tail of Dan Lewis and on the tail of Cooper Akers. They're all at one place. Bold and Delmont have made a move into that kink. I'm sure that was a robust and rigid move. It is a tricky track to overtake on, but John Brown is certainly close up to Delmont. You can just see up ahead. Let's jump on to the leaders if we can, if it will let me, Mr. Director. I requested nicely. There we go. We're on with Adam Delmont and John Brown and Dan Mould as your leading trio to start another lap. The laps come thick and fast here. We're 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the race. And the weaving begins. It's not really a drafted track summit point, so it looks a little bit daft. But why not? Let's create some drama and some talking points while we're at it. There's obviously a top 10 reverse grid. So that's currently occupied by Craig Walters at the moment. He is a 10th place man. But it's a very close grid. It says quick lap. Everyone's within a second of each other. So you never really get a chance to pull away too much. Cars run down to turn 4 and 5. A little fast little kick. Veloster leading the way with Dan Mould and Adam Delmont. A little of a nudge share from Delmont, just pushing Dan Mould round. I'm sure we appreciated that very, very much. Who wouldn't like a rub up the backside from Adam Delmont? It was technically the most exciting battle as well, which is always a winner when your leaders are exciting. But we're going to jump back to Dan Lewis there in 6th place. He's currently got Dick Crowther, who has snuck past Dan Lewis. We'll have to catch that one on the replay. And Daniel Lewis going lawn cutting again, and that's definitely going to slow him down. Tony Walker takes advantage of that and moves himself up another place there. That's 2 places gained since the race start for Tony. Now just 1 place behind him. So 1 place further ahead of him is Deck, who has Cooper in front of him. So the top 2 are in the same trio of cars and the podium for the Pro-Ams. We have got 14 minutes remaining of this race. A little bit of dirt gets kicked up. On board with Tony Walker from our wonderful Chopper Academy. He has got Demi Titular right up his backside there. We got that Backfire SimSport purple liveried car. Hold off the Racing Forces car. going to be no easy feat. The answer certainly looks impressive. And TCR is one of our biggest movers in this race, with 3 gained off the start of the race. The cars run down to start a new lap. Side by side, actually, Walters and JBDJ over the start finish line. I think Walters might well pull that one off. Into turn 1, Tony Walker is still there, looking to gain on Deck Crowder, but he's got Demi right behind and Dan Lewis right behind him. When you're running these laps with your car so close behind you, all you feel is the pressure. And you do not want to make that mistake of just sliding it wide, put it into the gravel, slowing you down. And all of a sudden, those cars will be up and past you quicker than you can imagine. Drivers have lost out at the start. Adam Delmont is now down to 3rd. What's Adam Delmont's slowdowns, I wonder? Maybe. It hasn't shown up on the timing screen. He has added off or anything else. So he's just been cleanly overtaken by John Brown, I imagine. Wonderful highlights at the end of the session, no doubt. As the cars run through another lap. See if we've got anyone close. Clayton Buller and JBDJ are close on track here as they run through the final turn. They've got Tom Woodcock right on their tail. You're going to be keen to make some points up here, but here we go. We're going to come down. JBDJ looking to go left and right. Can that Elantra work his way? And Tom Woodcock looking to slip it down the inside of JBDJ there. And you get a little nibble there from DJ on Buller. Woodcock got back against Hurley, so Hurley's still up there. Larkin has been dropped by Hurley. And onto that lovely piped gearbox sound. These cars get right on the throttle and bounce over the curb. I'm going to watch them loop around this wonderful tight twisty infield section at a summit point. Hard to overtake here. Cars disappear down towards the wooded section. We'll jump back on board of Tony Walker, who is still in 3rd in class, and back to Adam Delmont and John Brown and down that mould. Delmont has got past John Brown again, so good racing there. Unfortunately, never shows us that move when it happens, because the race director missed that one. We'll get it in the replay, no doubt. There's been a couple of nice bit to and fro in the last few laps between these guys. Now, typically, you're looking at overtaking points. Our turn 1 is your main one, and if you're lucky, you can get it right into turn 5, which is this section we're coming up to now. We get through this kink, and if you're close enough, you can get on the inside and trust that you're going to get on the brakes late enough. But it's that trust that's the important one. It's not as easy to do as it is easy to say. We're coming up to the halfway point of race 1, the heat race of this 2-race meet here at some point in this SRLTV TCR League. And your top 10 as we come up to complete lap 8 is Dan Mould, Adam Delmont, John Brown, Cooper Akers, Deck Crowder, Tony Walker, Demi Titular, Dan Lewis, Craig Walters, Clayton McBuller, JBDJ, Tom Woodcock, Paul Hurley, Eura Larkinen, Nick Scottney and Andy Littler. That's your top 16, your 16 winners and riders. We went to 17. Logan McKinsey did the best jump starter of the season award. Yeah. And decided and pulled away and retired from this particular race. No points to score for him for this one. He could have probably scored points if he'd taken the penalty. But I don't think points are what he needs. His nearest rival is unfortunately not on track tonight. So we watched Adam Delmont keeping tabs with Dan Mould. We've seen this many a time over the previous seasons. And who will prevail? Always can be potential for a bit of controversy. Can one of them just not hit each other? Drive to each other's strengths? Or will everyone put them under pressure? Time will tell as the race progresses on. Deck Crowther. There he is, chasing down Cooper Akers. Certainly hasn't been dropped by Cooper. Keep it on track. Tom Woodcock has had an off track. Came back on. Nothing of severity there. As we jump back on board of Delmont, looking to make the move on Mould into turn one. He's going to take the outside line and get on the power nice and early. Obviously, the race wants to see that one. He wants to watch Deck and Cooper. But Delmont didn't make it stick on Mould, and Mould will cover it off for the run down to turn 3. Back to Cooper and Crowther. There's Mould and Delmont. Little tickle on the gravel. We'll just slow down Mould there as they come round 4 into 5. Can Delmont make the move stick? He will not. That's the time screen to change. But Cooper is being harassed by Deck Crowther here all the way through his previous laps, and he will not like that mirror being filled by that orange and white Blaze Design Honda Civic. Definitely a Honda Cup tonight. Majority of the field driving Hondas. Certainly shows the position of the Honda around a track like this, and also in the TCRs. Right, we have got 10 laps in the bag. 13 minutes and 15 seconds remain of this race 1. And Delmont is side by side with Mould again. And this time Delmont has got the inside line into the fast turn 3. Who will yield? Will anybody yield? There's side by side contact made between Mould and Delmont. Mould on the grass, and Delmont takes advantage, and John Brown pushes his way past Mould. I think Mould will be spitting feathers at that one. We'll check that one out from the replay later, and that might make Mould drive a bit angry. And we don't want any Mould to become angry, because it definitely goes past his sell-by date. Here comes JBJ. And then we've back to John Brown. He's going to have Dan Mould all over the back of him now. Nobody likes Mould on the rear. So Delmont with a little bit of a gap now. It's just point something of a second. It's not much at all. But Dan Mould pushing John Brown down the start straight to turn 1. We've got a bit of action behind. Cooper Akers, Deck Crowther, Tony Walker. Tony Walker is not letting Cooper away. Every position is a point gained in his eyes. That he is close to Cooper, so Cooper is pushing hard. Unfortunately, hit the gap between him and the top 3 as was wide, as we see Dan Mould or possibly going wide again and losing out. But Dan Mould screams past John Brown to get second place up ahead. But while these guys are battling, it is bringing these 3 closer and closer to a gaggle of 6. TTR has been dropped by 2 and a bit seconds to this leading trio of Pro-Ams, which is Akers, Crowther and Walker. But while Delmont, Mould and Brown battle at the front of the pros, it is enabling a bit more of racing going on. And they're going to catch up to the back of a draft here as well, which does help, just keep you in the racing line. As we look at Craig Walters. And his 666 car being pushed by Clayton McBullough, who's up 4 places actually since the race started. So he's actually had a great start to his race. Back to the 6. Probably now more 4, to be honest, I think now. To be quite honest with you. There we go. We're going to watch this wonderful drone cam as they come through the sweeping section. Cooper Akers, Deck Crowther and Tony Walker right behind as the camera goes underneath them. Not much going on there, to be honest. Yeah, John Brown just dropping back off Dan Mould there. A little bit of a slower lap than he would have wanted. Nick Scotney and Andy Littler are 4 seconds apart. Tom Woodcock is still down in 14th place. He's battling with Ura Larkinen and Paul Hurley on that same kind of group of three. JBJ is on his own now. He's gained lost a bit of time to Craig Walters, who has got Clayton, but Butler's just gone past him. But Walters sends it deep into one. Little bit of contact, but that was almost a good comeback move there after McButter had got past him on the previous straight and exit of the corners. We've got to stay on board of this one as they come round to the fast turn 3, but McButter just shows him the defensive line and goes, thank you very much, but it's also a switchback opportunity for Walters. Can he make it count into 5? A kick of 4, can he break late? Nope, didn't try it. I would have thought, considering that turn 1 for Walters, he would have given that a go, but opted not to. Sensible driver, they might say. Now, Cooper trying to get up to John Brown. You guys all made places up for the start, thanks to Logan McKenzie. Delmont is way up ahead. He's got 2 seconds lead over Dan Mould. And with only 2 minutes remaining, which is probably going to be about 3 laps to where we are. Will dictate here, but here comes Deck, really up the backside of Cooper Acres. Deck Crowther not making the move. Okay, that's an interesting one. It was Tony Walker nearly misjudging his braking point there into the back of Deck. I would have thought Crowther would have made the move there on Cooper, or was he just playing with him, just like a cat with his toy? Make him think about it for next time and goes, I am here. I will punish you for your mistakes. Deck has now got Tony Walker right up his backside though. So Deck doesn't want to have to be defending when he can get onto the back of Cooper. Or can they use each other to push each other along? Okay, calm down, Mr. Race Director. We'll jump back onto the action from our trackside cameras. As they come down into turn 10 for the penultimate time. There's the white flag. Indeed. White flag is out from Barney as they come over the line to see who could claim the final positions for this one. Delmont is clear by almost 2 seconds over Mould. Brown is just a second behind Mould. Cooper Acres is a second behind Brown, but he's got Crowther and Walker within a second of him. So no mistakes to be made here as we watch these guys go around the final few corners. We got Lewis and Titular pretty close together. And everyone else is kind of just stretched out a little bit there as we go. But we're going to watch this one till the end. Delmont is running away from them all. Taking some nice lines there, looking good. And Cooper is going to do it now. Let's jump onto the finish line cam. Give ourselves a little bit here as we see Adam Delmont bringing home the field to take the win for Heat 1, Race 1. Dan Mould in second. John Brown will bring home in third. Cooper Acres a close fourth from Deck Crowther and Tony Walker. Daniel Lewis comes home there in fourth in the Pro-Ams and seventh overall. 10 minutes are in eighth. Creative Bullet in ninth. Greg Walters in 10th. JBJ is 11th. Paul Hurley 12th. Tom Woodcock 13th. Ura Larkinen 14th. Here comes Nick Scotney and Andy Littler to complete the ones over the line. So let's have a look at some key moments there from race 1. The start was very clean. Not much really happened at the start, which is quite nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at some moves here. If I can just find one, let's have a look at Ura Larkin going off track. Let me get this one. For you up. There we go. So it's that classic last corner. Just getting onto the gravel, which slows you right down, and then a trio of cars surged past him. Dan Mould past Adam Delmont for P1. This is down into turn 4 and 5. Nice aggressive driving. Delmont got a little bit loose on the brakes, but Mould just swings it around the outside. Goes deep, and Mould just kept it together. Absolutely nailed it round the corners there. That's how you do it. Dick Crowther, he passed Daniel Lewis. How did he do his? Was it round the outside of 4 and 5? It was indeed. Just comfortable into the 4 and then easy round 5. Slowly done. And then the Audi is blocked off by the Honda Civic. That's what brought Tony Walker into play a little bit, wasn't it? And this is Mould and Delmont. These two a bit of contact into that turn 1. John Brown goes, "Thank you very much. I'm going to have that place back." And he did. See you later. But it wasn't to last long with the returning on the next lap of Delmont down turn 1. Just holding his line around the outside and then goes around the outside. Leaves the door a little bit open for Brown to come back at him, but nicely done from the pair of them. A couple of off tracks that we've got here. Tom Woodcock. This is turn. What turn was that one? Turn 8. Turn 8 and 9. You could get away with a little bit there, to be honest. Clayton Buller had himself an off track. This looks like turn 3. So easy to do there. Dan Mould and Co had an off track. We had an off track here. So there's contact there. That's what we saw. Turn 3. And John Brown swept his way past again there, which is all very much a nice bit of aggression being forward there. That was probably the move that turned the race and told the story. Dan Mould got into the back of John Brown there. He went deep into 5. So look at the point when Mould did get past Brown. Yeah, good job. Nicely done. Good defence work. Brown coming right in front of Mould there. Mould didn't flinch. Absolutely didn't lift, didn't flinch out of it. Held it onto it. Yep, nice work. Oh, a little bit of rubbing between Mould and Brown, and Mould just sweeps on by. That's some sort of difference, isn't it, between the top drivers just being able to just run the risk, run the high stakes game, and see what happens. We need to find. I want to see Craig Walters passing Clayton Bullock. These two had a battle. I think at one point that was this one here. That was great send from Walters there. Didn't quite pull it off though. And Lewis and Tikchilla. Another classic door-to-door action between the Audi and the Elantra. Just the Audi grunt just allows it to make a little bit of contact and run away down towards the next corner. Well, as usual, certain point delivers. It's one of those tracks that he just delivers, and everyone does a good job. And that's what you want to see for everyone, isn't it? Absolutely. As we watch the end of the race for everyone to zoom on by. Right, next race is coming up very shortly. So bear with us while we take a quick break, quick drink, and get race 2 set up for you any second shortly. So bear with us a few minutes, a few seconds, we'll be right back. Okay, folks, welcome back to Race 2, the feature race of this SRL TV Race 2 League 8, Season 8, sorry, God, I get my words all wrong there. Season 8 of the SRL TCR League, the finale, round 10 from Summit Point Raceway. This is the feature race, a 25-minute marathon where everyone is flipped around. The top 10 are reversed, so Adam Delmont starts on pole. With Craig Walters, sorry, Adam Delmont starts 10th for winning the last race, and Craig Walters, who came home 10th, is the man on pole with Clayton McBuller and Demi Titular 1, 2, and 3. But we'll bring you the grid. That's what's on screen now for you, because that's what it's there for. Is buttons, am I? Apologies. So Craig Walters is on first, Clayton McBuller second, Demi Titular on third, Daniel Lewis on fourth, Tony Walker fifth, Dick Crowder on sixth, Cooper Akers on 7th, John Brown in 8th place, Dan Mould 9th, Adam Delmont 10th. And then as they finished in the previous race, which is JBJ 11th, Paul Hurley 12th, Tom Woodcock 13th, Ewan Larkinen on 15th, Andy Littler on 16th, and a certain Logan McKinsey. He's going to be starting in 17th place after his jump start in the first race. Let's see how he does. The reverse grid not working in his favour because he quit out. And retired from the first race, so it'll be interesting to see how he does from there. Let's just get the race screen up and running for you guys. This is the one. This is the final race of the season. This is the one that people want to see. This is what it's all about. How it can work in their favour. We did see Cooper Akers eat into Tony Walker's lead. Cooper Akers with the Pro-Am victory. Tony Walker finished third. They are now the other way round. So this could work back in Tony Walker's favour and make his car as wide as possible with Dick Crowder in the middle. It's going to be a tough one for them all. This is the one that's going to eat attention, eat people's fingernails alive. We just don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. This is the thing. We do not know. So we're just going to wait for the grid to form up. We've got Adam Delmont just to get going. The revs are picking up already. Delmont's not making the grid. And we're green for go. And go, go, go. And the lights are away. And the cars roll down to the first corner. Here at Summit Point Raceway. Craig Walters on your left. Clayton McBuller on your right. Daniel Lewis stuck in behind him with Tig the Chidala there. Behind him, fourth, and Crowther. The cars run round turn one without incident. A nice clean start from everybody. Wonderful start. We see John Brown in the mix there in 7th place. Clayton McBuller is our leader from the start. Craig Walters coming back at him. And they're side by side down into turns 4, 5, 6, and 7. We got a car off on the left. It is Clayton McBuller who goes deep into the corner and across the other side of the track. And he might have picked up Titular with him as well. We're certainly going to be picking that one up on the replay and see where we're going. Craig Walters has disappeared. Oh, I think that might be Clayton McBuller causing some carnage there. You see a car going across the grass. It's usually similar on the grass in that situation. The whole thing is mixed up. Daniel Lewis up into the race lead now with Tony Walker in second place, Dick Crowther in third, Cooper Akers in fourth. So we've sort our top three of the race start all now in pit road and towing. Yep, they certainly have some incidents there. I think Craig Walters has got his car back to road as we see Tony Walker taking the race lead against Daniel Lewis into turn one. There's Clayton McBuller and co. That is not who we need to be on. Thank you very much, race director, for doing that for us. So a gaggle back here. We've got JB Logan McKinsey, Mould. Larkin takes out Mould. Oh, that's an incident that's going to be need looking at later on in the race. That's Dan Mould into the kitty litter on the outside of 3. Larkin looks like he has eased off and let Mould back through. Giving the place back, so that's one for the replay, no doubt, towards the end of the race, or the end of the session. As we watch the cars weave their way through. Tony Walker in championship winning position here. Cooper Akers, 2 cars, well, 3 cars further back and forth, 2 in between them, with work to do. So Tony Walker knows he can control this in his favour for the championship. Now we say the championship is the Pro-Am Championship. And a flash of lights from Tom Woodcock with John Brown in front of him. But John Brown has done well to get himself up there. 3 places. Logan McKenzie says here 10 places gained up to 7th place. I wouldn't put that past him. Carving his way through the field. Dan Mole's down to 11th. He's dropped 2 places. We've got Paul Hurley in front of him. And JB Dejay. Dick Crowther certainly getting a lot of airtime tonight. He's been right in the mix of things as gravel is thrown everywhere from other cars. When they've been off through there into the tight, twisty, horrible braking area of 5 and 6 and 7. Be patient on the throttle as the cars roll their way round. Don't want to leave the door open that way, Deck, because someone will try and slip through it. And the question is, Cooper here, he knows he's got to take some risks, he's got to take some chances. Can he afford to sit behind and accept that he is not going to get the championship by sitting there? Or does he need to attack and go on the offensive? I know what I would be doing. As the cars complete the 3rd lap of the race with Tony Walker, Dan Lewis, Cooper Akers, John Brown and Tom Woodcock are your top 6. Logan McKenzie slowly gaining on this pack of 6 at the front. Nick Scotney is our lead Pram up to 8th place. He's made 7 places. Big gains from Nick Scotney there. So he's in a battle with Andy Littner in terms of their finish position and possible 3rd place in the AM division. Paul Hurley has definitely got that wrapped up after the first race tonight. Nathan Bullitt is still on pit road. I think he's gone back into pit road actually. So yeah, looks like he might be retiring for this one. As the cars are in a gaggle. The tension is there. Which means if we're going to go tension, let's look at the tension cam. And watch all the action as it unfurls behind and to the sides. On board of Deck Crowther here as they run up the back end of the track to turn 10. They're a fast right-hander onto the start-finish line. Deck is that far behind Lewis and Walker. Cooper is being harassed by John Brown. I think this championship might be slipping away here from Cooper Akers. He's got to work his way forward quickly. He's got to make an impact here. Because it's not going to change while you sit in 4th place. And John Brown is ever closer to the back of his car. If you're looking at things inside the team championship as well, you've got I think Blades Design will be looking to gain some places on them, on the team ahead of him, or just ahead of him, which was the Just Average Sim Racer team through Tryhards. They've only got 1 driver short, as is Blades Design, so it's all down to who usurps who, with Woodcock chasing them down a bit as well. But still, we stay on board. Tony Walker is at the head of his field, not pulling away, but not under pressure. He knows he can drive a controlled race here. Not the fastest man on track is Logan McKenzie in 15.15. Then Tom Woodcock on 15.78. Clean lap. Dan Mould is back up to 9th place. JBJ is up to 8th place. He's made 3 places from his start. And McKenzie is up 10, which we know already. He is going to be keen. He's just improved his time to 15.11. And he is on the back as John Brown is attacking Cooper Akers into turn 1. Can he make it stick? Not quite. It's crazy. But Deck Crowther's coming up the inside of Lewis into 2. As my fat finger gets in the way. Can Lewis make it stick on Crowther? Into 3. Not quite. Good driving there from Deck. Lewis on the attack now. Can he make it work in his favour for this twisty 5? He goes round the outside. Bit deep there. He's going to let Cooper in. And here's Cooper on the outside. So that's what Cooper needs to do. He needs to get his nose in. He needs to get offensive. The cars run away over the start-finish line very shortly. And on board with Dan Lewis in that cockpit of his. And oh, we've got to move on the outside here. Here comes Cooper. Down the start-finish line. Over the start-finish line. Cooper Akers moves ahead of Dan Lewis. Into turn 1. Cooper backs out early against the Audi. But makes the move and Lewis is off. Lewis has panicked in the braking zone and made that high-pressure mistake. And we see McKinsey and Woodcock go by. That is a loose move from Lewis in the braking zone. He'll be disappointed of that one. We've seen that a few times from him in the close quarters combats this season in various places. He's lost 3 places there from where he started. Big loss there. So that moves Cooper Akers up into 3rd place. Still points lost against Walker. He needs to move himself up. But there is an absolute gaggle of cars that we are in patch with. And there's a bit of a gap now, actually, thinking about it, between Walker and Crowther and Cooper. Obviously, Cooper went into combat with Lewis, which would have slowed him down overall. John Brown is certainly still sniffing around that rear of Cooper Akers. Here they come to complete lap 7. And we are 9 minutes deep into the race. That Crowther is keeping Tony Walker honest here. Plenty to play for, plenty to race for. Into turn 1. Tony Walker is certainly looking the part of our championship winner at the moment. But it's not over yet. Crowther is still looking to attack on Walker, so anything could still happen. Cooper is hoping for a mistake or two from the guys in front, and now John Brown is pushing Cooper Akers down into turn 5 and put him under pressure as here comes McKinsey looking to go around the outside of this battling duo. McKinsey knows how to carve his way through a field, and he's certainly showing how to do that, as he's made 12 places up from the start of this race. This is a last to first challenge if you've ever seen one of this scale before. Turns 9 negotiated. Turn 10 coming up. The fast turn 10. How much curb do you want to hit? How much of the exit do you want to use? The answer, all of it. Over the start-finish line. The cars are one after the other. Will it stay that way shortly as we see Walker and Crowther at the foreground there. Coming into turn 1. Can John Brown send into one with McKinsey right behind him? Now, do you drive offensively or defensively for Brown? I think I'll be looking to drive offensively, because whatever you're going to do it, Logan is going to want to come through and make it work in his favour. Turn 3, the fast left-hander. Don't run it wide, whatever you do, because you will slow down. And McKinsey just touched the gravel there, which won't have helped him into the 4 and 5 complex that we're in now. Cars run into this evening sunset where the shadows get long. A bit of contact there, but that's just touring cars. Different lines through there between Brown and McKinsey. It's obviously trying to make one move and be offensive on the other. You don't want to cause too much jip for each other, but you've got to play different lines and put each under pressure. As we see McKinsey and Brown coming into the final corner. Will McKinsey send it on to Brown into this final one? It's not traditional overtaking spine to turn 10, but they're too wide as they come round. Both avoiding the gravel on the outside. Great bit of driving from the pair. Not the fastest line, but they're still side by side down the start-finish line. And I'm pretty sure McKinsey's got to be offensive line into this turn 1. Can he make it stick with Brown? Going to hang it around the outside and be the daredevil that he wants to be. They're both side by side. A little bit of clobber on the inside, but that's absolutely fine. But Brown is still there. He's on the throttle. They're going to come to the left-hander. Can Brown use whatever overlap he's got in his advantage? I think he might do. It's turn 3. Is the overlap in Brown's favour? McKinsey can't do it for Brown. Contact! Sideways. And that is forceful, shall we say, between McKinsey and Brown. I don't think any quarter can be given. Here comes Woodcock on the inside of Brown, and Woodcock takes advantage of that wonderful bit of driving overhead. Great opportunism from Tom Woodcock there to sneak it on forward. and get some points in the back for the team. Dan Lewis is now on the back of his train of 7 cars from the leader to where we are now, with Dan Mould 4 seconds further back. We'll just see if he can catch up with the remaining 12.5 minutes. We're at the halfway point of this feature race and the final race of the Season 8 SRL TCR League here at Summit Point Raceway. Join us on lap 11 now, as the leaders are over the line. John Brown harassing now Tom Woodcock. Cooper Akers will be glad of a bit of clear air between him and McKinsey, but here comes Brown on Woodcock, sends it nice and deep. Wonderful move from Brown. Perfectly done, and Woodcock just giving a little push out the corner. I wouldn't be doing that, Tom, because you'll be slowing yourself down. And run down to 3. Can Woodcock make the move on Brown to get the reverse? Not going to happen at this stage. Right, so let's jump on board into this twisty section with Brown and Woodcock. Don't think we're going to see much from that one. Let's have a look at how close Woodcock is to the back of Brown. Come over the hump towards turn 10. Brown holding his line, holding his nerve as McKinsey uses a bit of the kitty litter on the exit there. That will not be an optimal exit. It's probably don't want to be too non-optimal. As they run round turn 1 and 2. In your order of cars you see on track there, you've got McKinsey, Brown, Woodcock and Lewis. Your race is looking like this. Tony Walker, Deck Crowther, Cooper Akers, your top 3. A reverse of the Prem top 3 in the last round. Logan McKinsey, John Brown, Tom Woodcock, 4th, 5th and 6th. Dan Lewis in 7th, Dan Mould in 8th. Jay Widger in 9th, Paul Hurley in 10th. Is your current top 10. Paul Hurley up in the lead of the AMS now and driving really well. And Cooper Akers has got to close that gap to Deck Crowther somehow. We got the pace and quality. That pace not quite there in the race trim as it stands, it seems. Over the start finish line they come. Another lap in the bag, but Deck Crowther is all over the back of Tony Walker. This is kind of what Deck Crowther, or what Cooper Akers kind of needs, sorry, in order for his battle of a championship. Can they slow each other down by their racing? Because Deck's not in a championship fight, but a race win is always a race win. It's pride, it's glory, it's honour. And if you can make it work in your favour, you are quids in. People will always remember you for winning the race as the best of the rest and the best of the best. Turn 5. Here's Tony Walker and Deck Crowther. They nose to tail as they have been all races. 0.44 of a second between these two. Cooper Akers, he'd be desperate to close that gap. And that's what it needs to be as we see Cooper Akers and Logan McKinsey. And that's the thing. Now, Cooper will not want Logan to be getting past him here. Because if anything happens up at the front, he needs to be in a position to capitalise on as many points as possible. So, does Cooper defend like a lion, or does he let him go and play a long game? And hope that a third car in the mix can create some uncertainty? Who knows? But this is a long line of cars. We see Lewis and Woodcock in the back. Lewis doesn't need to make the offensive move. Woodcock makes the defensive move into turn 1. And again, the Audi outbreaks a Honda in the final corner. But the switchback is done by Woodcock on the exit of that corner, which is sensible driving there from Woodcock. Good driving from the boys there. McKinsey hunting down Cooper as Cooper runs it wide, dips a wheel into the gravel, which will slow him down on the exit. McKinsey's going to be keen to make the move He is on a last to first challenge with only 8 minutes remaining of this race. Can he make it work in his favour? Can he make it happen? Fastest man on track with 15.11 is his best lap. Let's see if there's anything faster. 15.21 is your next fastest from Dan Mould. And John Brown will be hoping to use the pull of Logan to get through here as well. "17 minutes and 50 seconds gone. 7 minutes pretty much to go. We are lap 15 on lap 15 now as McKinsey coming down the inside of Cooper Acres. A little bit shifty under braking there from Cooper. Side by side into one. Don't let it compromise his exit for two, because John Brown is now going to be in the hunt and take more points of potentially off Cooper Acres here. But McKinsey is up 14 places into third place on the outright podium and the lead of the pros. Great driving from Logan in the second race, especially after that jump start in the first race. Down into 4 and 5. We are sticking with Cooper Acres here for quite a lot of the action, but we're going to need to jump back to the leaders as Tony Walker and Dick Crowther still battle it out. There's 0.5 of a second between these two, as it has been all race. Has Deck got some pace in him? Can Deck close it up? Has he been conservative on his tyres? We shall find out. Excuse me. Definitely need to wet the whistle there. Turn 1. See where we've got some close battles on track. Paul Hurley has got JB DJ, who he is hunting down there very tightly there. Can Paul Hurley claim a Pro-Am scalp in this feature race? Currently 10th place, 0.75 behind JB DJ. Looking pretty good. Dan Lewis. Someone went off track as John Brown up ahead. Dan Lewis has got Woodcock right behind him. Dan Mould closing in on this group. See, John Brown is all over the back of Cooper Acres. And it's going to be the closest battle on track, by no doubt. But Walker and Crowther it's just there, isn't it? It is right on the cusp. Cooper Acres and John Brown. This is our closest battle on track. 0.33 of a second between them. With the start finish line, there's Acres and Brown, Lewis, Woodcock, Mould. Down into turn 1. And there's Cooper. Desperately keen to keep behind. We're 21 minutes gone, 4 minutes of the race remaining. As we watch the cars round the infield section here. Can John Brown put it into the mix? Can Logan McKinsey show the other two who's boss with only a few minutes left of this race? And he's now a second behind the leaders, which is pretty good. You might argue on that one. Is he going to cause another variable in this championship battle? There is McKinsey. And this is exactly what probably Walker and Crowther don't want to see, is so John Brown takes a huge detour behind there. Yeah, not rallycross, John. As we watch Dick Crowther and Tony Walker, they're in the 16s at the moment with McKinsey 15.2. Certainly lapping quicker up ahead. John Brown with a 17-second last lap, 1 minute 17. So it's definitely not going to help him in his pursuit of Cooper Acres, who's now on his own on track. And we'll have to watch this trio battle away and not quite close the gap himself, unless something happens in these final few corners and minutes. John Brown's off track again behind. We're going to stay with this battle now towards the end of the race. We only have 2.5 minutes remaining. It's pretty much 2 laps to go for the end of this race. Through the fast right hander of the last corner of turn 10. McKinsey is right on the back of Crowther. They're all within half a second of each other as they come down the start-finish line. There's action behind. We've got Mould and Woodcock going against each other. But we've got McKinsey, Crowther, Walker in that reverse top 3 here. As they come round, McKinsey being pushed by Crowther. This trio of Honda Civics. We've got 1 more lap to go after this, I reckon. McKinsey down the inside of Crowther. It's going to give Walker a bit of breathing room with the last couple of laps, but McKinsey is on the last to first hunts. Can he do it? Just pause to compose and reflect on what is the final lap of the race about to start. The final lap of the season, the final lap of the championship. Can Tony Walker bring this car home to seal the championship in the Pro-Ams? Logan McKinsey is also on track. He is going to seal the Pro Division with this win as well. Paul Hurley is definitely going to be sealing the AM Division as we see Cooper Akers go a little bit off track at the back there, I think, and we'll go away with it. Into the final lap. This is the white flag lap. McKinsey does not make the move on Walker, so he might be content to sit his car behind there as they run round the start-finish line for the last time, and then turns 1 and 2 we've just done. Here we go. The final lap of the season is here. Hopefully we won't see any mistakes from any of his boys. The pressure's still there. The race win is still up for grabs. Nothing more prestigious than a non-pro winning the feature race. We've seen it a few times this season. Certainly the pros know how to... the Pro-Ams know how to mix it up with the Pro-Ams. So the Pro-Ams know how to mix up the pros and actually give them a clean set of heels at times as well and show everyone who's boss. Walker rounds the final turn 8 and 9 for the final time this season. The checkered flag is being unfurled as they come into the final corner for turn 10. The checkered flag has definitely been waved by Barney. Here we go. Checkered flag as we watch the final lap. Tony Walker brings home the car, flashes the lights and wins the season Pro-Am Championship, and McKinsey takes home the wins of the Pro-Am in second. Crowther was third, Cooper Akers in fourth, John Brown in fourth, Dan Lewis in fifth. All of them changed the line. And Dan Mould in sixth, Tom Woodcock, JBJ, Ewan Larkin and Paul Hurley over the line. That was tight. Then we've got Nick Scottney and Demi Titular bringing it over the line. We'll get in official results because a few things changed over the line there. Well, that was action-packed and amazing. Let's bring up... Not quite sure what happened to... Logan McKinsey be upset my results page right at the end. Let's bring up the results as we watch our Pro-Am in super slow-mo in the background. Paul Hurley is the winner of the feature race for the AMS. He comes home in first place with 7.7 second lead over Nick Scottney and Andy Little, who did not finish the race, 20 laps down. Your Pro-Am results for that race. We've got Tony Walker by 0.9 seconds over Deck Crowther. Cooper Akers in third, Dan Lewis in fourth, JBDJ fifth, Ewan Larkin in sixth, Demi Titular in seventh, and Clayton McBuller and Craig Walters eighth and ninth, who did not score points because they didn't complete 75% of the race. In the pros, Logan McKinsey the winner by 4.6 seconds with Dan Mould 6.4 seconds the third, and sorry, McKinsey the winner by 4.6. John Brown in second, Dan Mould in third. Tom Woodcock bringing it home in fourth, 7.9 seconds. Dan one who didn't take the start of the race for that final race, unfortunately. It would have been interesting to hear how that would have turned out in the mix. But there's your man, Tony Walker. Now what we're going to do now, we are just going to check on the highlights where the final points all tallied up and see what happened in various instances of that track and that race. Let's have a look at the first off track. Clayton McBullough. We have a few adventurous moves. A little bit of contact there on the back of Ticchilla. Oh, and that was the first lap incident. Yeah, that was huge. Huge crash. So, especially from a different angle here. So, he's already gone off wide. A little bit of... Let's have a look at that again, actually. So, did the contact with Ticchilla throw him off? He took the wrong line. No, I think that's on McBullough on the grass, trying to brake, and then into Walters, into Ticchilla, and that's huge contact. And that's your top three of that race, who started 1, 2, and 3, out. So, let's do replay bit off. So, that was those three gone straight away. Which was a shame, because it could have been a good race for those guys at the front, because they're quick. They all went back to pit lane. Tony Walker passed Daniel Lewis. This was quite early on. This was for the race lead. Nice bit of driving there for Tony Walker. Sends it on the inside, using a nice bit of inside lane there to get that car around and in. Nicely done. Dan Mould went off track. It's in a bit of contact here. Oh, that's the contact from Larkin, who pulls over to the left and let him back through. Yep. Really good sportsmanship driving there from Eura. Can't really fault that. Obviously, he impacted on Dan Mould's race there. We've got Tom Woodcock. This is turn 9. Classic run wide. Nothing too crazy. Dick Crowder past Daniel Lewis. This is on the loop. Turn 1 and 2. This is coming down to turn 3. Who's the bravest of them all? Dick Crowder very late on the brakes and just comes inside beautifully on Lewis there. That's a fine overtake. One of the overtakes of the day, surely. That was. Daniel Lewis off track, which is probably going to be into turn 1. Yep, that was the pressure from Cooper. And off he went there. Logan McKinsey. This is probably just a, run wide, that's corner. So easy to do, but it happens. Tom Woodcock past Daniel Lewis. This is that switchback we saw. Lewis went around the outside. Woodcock nipped back on the inside on the switchback. Nicely done. Again, probably set up quite nicely. John Brown. Off track. Turn 3. Just running wide. Yep, pretty classic. And he went off again. Next corner, according to this. Onto the timing screen, so I'm not sure what he did. Not sure what corner it was either. If it was, didn't really register it too much, so strange one. Now we saw some flashing lights on Woodcock and Mould. Woodcock went wide, yep, opened the door. Dan Mould to scoot on inside. Unfortunately, Eura Larkin and Paul Hurley. This is on the line. Just down to the start, not quite. Start finish line. Final lap. So Larkin and Hurley, Larkin on the left, Hurley on the right. Hurley trying to go around the inside, door left open, but on the paradise earlier for Larkin there, using that full width for tracking that long wheelbase of Elantra, seems to scoot up by that corner. Very nice indeed. Very, very nice. Okay, so just sticking on Logan's car. Logan is your overall Pro Championship winner, I will be guessing shortly, because we are going to bring up the results, the points, And it starts with the AMs. Here we go. Here's your points. Your final points. Your final championship positions. Your amateur winner of the championship is Paul Hurley with 487 points. Scott Malcolm finished second place overall. But Nick Scotney got the better of Andy Littler in that final race to take the podium place in the third place there. Nice to see Nick Scotney do that in his first season in the SRL. Andy Littler finished also in fourth, getting some points to the board, and Jack Davies dropping down to 128 points. The other three drivers there only really raced one race this season. But great performance there from Nick Scotney and Andy Littler to have a good battle for the podium in the AMs. But congratulations to Paul Hurley for the championship win. The Pro-Ams, the division, so hotly contested. But Tony Walker with that race win at the end runs out a closely fought winner by 35 points over Cooper Akers. It may seem like a big points difference, but over the course of 10 races, that's nothing. That is tight, consistent, and congratulations to Tony Walker with his championship win in the Pro-Am division. Surely we'll be seeing him in the pros next season, as normally the pros, but yeah, automatic promotion to that division in the first few races at least. Daniel Lewis coming home in third place, Mr. Consistent as always with 620 points. JB Dejay sneaking into fourth place with 556 points, knocking down Mikolai Pashek at 520, who did not race tonight. But Dec Crowther jumped 3 places tonight to take advantage of Kev Elliott not racing. Craig Walters actually being taken out on that first lap by Clayton Buller, who harmed him. He dropped a place as well overall. Dec Crowther, that big move of 3 places to 6 and 4.94. Stu Gibbons, we didn't see tonight. Neil Stevenson, we didn't see tonight. Around at your top 10 there. And the pros. We've got Logan McKinsey, Arthur Fertel, John Brown, Dan Mould, and Sven Winter. But Logan McKinsey is your winner by a satisfying 178 points over Arthur Fertel. John Brown almost catching Arthur Fertel, who missed the last 3 rounds of the season, it turns out. But John Brown doing a valiant effort there to close that gap, but just missing out by 8 points. And Dan Mould had a good late season surge to get up to 530 after languishing a little bit in the early part of the season. And Delmont didn't climb any more places there of his final race. He did the best of his job in the first race tonight. Tom Woodcock didn't climb any places himself, but got more points to the board of 417. So, just one last division to look at, which is the teams. I'm pretty sure it's going to be next. It's going to be SRL Green Team coming out with dominant winners there by 223 points over the just average sim racer Vroom Team. So congratulations to John Brown and Daniel Lewis for your team victory. And the Vroom Team of Cooper Akers and Neil Stevenson taking home the second place there. Blade Designs in third, 904 points. They jumped above the tryhards at the very end of the season. The tryhards of Kevin and Tom Woodcock. Tom tried his best to get some points on the board, but just didn't quite work out. Obviously, driver sure that's going to happen. But congratulations to Blade Designs for their podium. Hard earned there are your top 3. Well, that was a fascinating night of racing. Certainly some very good, competitive, closely fought skill that was going on there. And everyone just had to be on their best behaviour. You don't want to be ending everyone's season by some poor driving or bad overtaking decisions. Just the one big incident we saw at the beginning of race 2. Classic Summit Point incident. We took out the top 3 of the start of that race, which let Tony Walker through to completely pretty much dominate the race. But Dec Crowther certainly gave him a race. It was so close between them all the way through, was the story of the night. But the big story is, of course, the championship positions we've just shown you. But even bigger and better coming up in the next season is the start of Season 9. Season 9, pretty much straight away, we'll be getting underway with some preview nights, which start Friday night. So tomorrow night, as you're watching this is a live broadcast of this race. So Friday night is the preview night from Alton Park. I am going to be live streaming the broadcast of that race as well, and hopefully might have someone else in the booth as we go. We don't know, but we'll be broadcasting that live as the entertainment for that evening, tomorrow night, Friday night, from about 9 p.m. So taking the pre-race chit-chat and all of those bits and bobs from there. But yes, the SRL Season 9 is returning. So 3 weeks of preview races with the opening race to get us underway after those 3 weeks of previews to get everyone accustomed to how everything runs and iron out any issues, etc., etc. And we will then have another 10 weeks of league racing. So I will leave that all with you guys. There are currently, if you are interested in racing the SRLTV, we are currently not taking any more entries. We have reached our limit of 62 drivers. I think it was registered, and obviously the grid. I think it's 62. We're at the limit of what we can take. So at the moment, we're not going to take any more drivers on board because we are full. But that doesn't mean there won't be opportunities to join at some point during the season. Definitely before the last 2 rounds of the season. Obviously, we won't take any more entries on for those ones. We've got a diverse grid with diverse set of drivers, different walks of life, different driving styles, different skill levels, which is what it's all about for season 10. So second season of this year. So be sure to join the action live with me on Friday night for the preview nights for the next 2 weeks. I'll be doing a live broadcast on that. And probably joining in for the third race before I lace up my own boots and get on track and join you all. And then we'll go back to doing the broadcasts of after the race has been done to show you guys what it will look like from the TV point of view and give it the drama the league deserves and excitement it deserves. So that's enough waffling from me. I hope to see you all on track. I've been your host tonight, and my name is Kev Aylett. And I will be back with more of the best Friday night touring car action, which is only brought to you by SRL TV tomorrow night from 9 p.m. Good night, take care, and we'll see you next season.